We interrupt your program to issue a severe warning for an impending emergency making its way to your area. We urge you to be watchmen of the times and to be prepared with the essential knowledge and supplies for the wake of the final hour.
Welcome to the Final Hour podcast, coming to you from the original A Living Word Christian Center out of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, i.e. Minneapolis. My name is Jim Hammond. This is Lonaiah Farrell.
Hi.
This is not my idea. This is John Gapp.
Yes.
And we have JD producing. Jeremiah Dupree.
Yay.
Of course he gets the applause.
Of course,
I
yes.
know,
Applause.
I like
whatever.
I just want to let you guys know that was Lonaiah's idea. So
She has lots of great ideas.
I do. Plenty.
especially when she's on coffee.
Hyped up.
She's on coffee.
Yes.
It is.
It's like a drug.
It is.
Last week we left off at Revelation 20, chapter 9 and 10.
It's getting juicy.
And we're talking about the millennium, the 1,000-year reign of Christ, and so coming out of the millennium, you had Satan once again deceive the earth. We explained how he was able to do that. Deceived a lot of the earth. Went to attack, and God strikes him down for the final and last time. So let's just review two scriptures here. They went up on the breadth of the earth, encompassed the camp of the saints about. That's Jerusalem and the beloved city. Fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. So it ends just that quick. The God's people don't even have to pull together an army. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, which we'll point out today is different than Hades, where the beast and the false prophet still were at that time after 1,000 years, still will be, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So this is how we ended last week. This is it for the devil. This comes after the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ. And if Armageddon is World War III, if they don't call Ezekiel 38 World War III, right?
Which, yeah.
They could.
I kind of feel like it might, but
yeah.
we'll see.
And so Armageddon is World War III. Then this will be World War IV. That really never happens because God cuts it short with the fire. Remember, Satan at one point was God's most beautiful creation. So you think about where he comes from. A lot of descriptions on Satan, or a few of them here. Ezekiel 28:13, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, the gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets.
It's a great name.
And thy pipes. Listen to that. The workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pipes was prepared in the day that thou was created. A tabret, we tried our best to find. It's some type of instrument made out of it's a small drum. So Lucifer was created with pipes. Okay, is what that's saying.
Interesting.
And so he and a drum. A tabret is a small drum, and it says the workmanship of thy tabrets, plural. So when he's this angel with pipes, these small drums, he's got all kinds of. He's beautiful. He's got every precious stone was covering him. So this is how he looked originally, and he's very musical. That's why he controls music. I mean, if he's got pipes and instruments of small drums on him, on his creation, it says was prepared in thee, the pipes and the tabrets.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Ezekiel 28:11 through 19 in the Message, just putting it a different way here. Therefore, God the Master says, because you're acting like a god, and we'll get to this, pretending to be a god. I'm giving fair warning. I'm bringing strangers down on you, the most vicious of all nations. They'll pull their swords and make hash of your reputation for knowing it all. They'll puncture the balloon of your God pretensions. They'll bring you down from your self-made pedestal and bury you in the deep blue sea. Will you protest to your assassins? You can't do that. I'm a God. To them, you're a mere mortal. They're killing a man, not a God. You'll die like a stray dog, killed by strangers. This is God talking to Lucifer. And it's interesting that God is saying, you're trying to make yourself a God. Okay? So, because I said so, the decree of God the Master, verses 11 through 19, God's message came to me, Son of man, raise a funeral song over the king of Tyre. Tell him a message from God, the Master. That's one of the names of Satan, the king of Tyre. You had everything going for you. You were in Eden, God's garden. You were dressed in splendor. Your robe studded with jewels, carnelian, peridot, moonstone, beryl, onyx, jasper, sapphire, turquoise, emerald, and all settings of engraved gold. A robe was prepared for you the same day you were created. You were the anointed cherub. I placed you on the mountain of God. You strolled in magnificence among the stones of fire. From the day of your creation, you were sheer perfection, and then imperfection. Evil was detected in you, and much buying and selling. See, that was down here on earth, right? You turned violent. You sinned. I threw you, disgraced, off the mountain of God. I threw you out. You, the anointed angel cherub, no more strolling among the gems of fire for you. Your beauty went to your head. You corrupted wisdom by using it to get worldly fame. See, this is before Genesis 1:1.
Yeah.
Okay? This is something going on down on the world before Genesis 1:1.
Right.
Worldly fame. This is when he was an angel. All right? I threw you to the ground, sent you sprawling before an audience of kings. Before Genesis 1:1, and let them gloat over your demise. By sin after sin after sin, by your corrupt ways of doing business, you defiled your holy places of worship. Satan is obviously, I think, one of God's top guys, right? The way he was created. We have him being given an eternal sentence. It's interesting that Satan's first act in the Bible is recorded in Genesis 3. His last act on the worldwide scale is mentioned in Revelation 20. Remember, the Antichrist and false prophet were cast into the lake of fire at least 1,000 years earlier. They're still there. And at this point in time, and that happened at the end of the tribulation, now we're at the end of the millennium. Revelation 20:11.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. So this takes place immediate after millennial reign, and it was a signal. It will signal the beginning of the new heaven and the new earth that we find in Revelation 21:1. This judgment that's happening is not involving Christians. Not involving Christians. Everyone who is a Christian will not be part of this judgment. The cross has handled the sins of everyone that has Jesus in their hearts. And if God ever brought sins against us, then he would be a liar. Okay? Jesus was punished for those sins. There will be no believers at this judgment, no Christians. According to the Bible, there are no breaks given to anyone here. This is the absolute justice of God. When this thing is over, no one's going to be able to say that they were not fairly treated. And you could say the whole record is in black and white. And remember now, I'm doing a series on Revelation, the book of Revelation in church. We just read in Revelation chapter 4 a couple of weeks ago, you had God's throne in heaven. We were talking about that throne. And because that Revelation 4 talks about that. And it had a rainbow around it, all right? And there's no rainbow around this throne. Okay, there's no rainbow. It's called the Great White Throne, the white signifying the purity of God. And it was Jesus Christ who we see in Revelation 5, the Bible says is worthy to open the Lamb's Book of Life and release the 7 seals because of what he did on the cross and through the resurrection. It will be Jesus Christ who will judge those who refuse what he did at the cross. And so, as you see, I have my new... these are
His new system.
Whoever put the patent on these, probably.
I don't know, but those make great chip clips.
Yeah,
we use those
they
for
sure
chip
do.
clips at home.
That is.
This guy's a millionaire.
Yeah, off
so.
of 67 cent
Whoever did
binder
that.
clips.
Yeah, and so that's where we are, and we've got two more short teachings today, but with the news, just, locally, just please, for those that are not part of Minnesota, just bear with us, because this is in a census what's going on worldwide.
Yeah.
But Minnesota here has the highest industrial electricity prices in the Midwest. And as we know, manufacturing is a pillar of Minnesota's economy. We currently have 330,000 jobs, people working in manufacturing in 2021.
Yeah.
These are high-paying, family-supporting jobs. This is according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. I'm not just saying this, right? And the problem, is going to get worse. This electricity prices problem. If Minnesota adopts the 100% carbon-free electricity mandate by 2040.
It's impossible.
A policy that our illustrious Governor Walz is advocating for. And Americans Experiment's latest report, the high cost of 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040, all right? And this is the whole, climate change thing. Mm-hmm. All this stuff is happening because of this. Governor Walz's proposal would cost Minnesota $313 billion through 2050. It will lead to blackouts.
Yep.
Industrial electricity prices would increase, go double in the next 12 years. The massive cost increases for Walz, our illustrious governor, would kill more than 79,000 jobs in the state by making electricity much more expensive. And that's not us saying that, according to the Economic Modeling Program,
right.
IMPLAN, okay, which is seen as the gold standard for these types of job impact analyses. So we're not just making this up here, all right? Job losses due to higher electricity prices would be concentrated in the sectors of the economy that uses the most electricity. This includes all the manufacturing and mining, really important sectors for communities throughout Minnesota. And so the energy policy decisions have a massive impact on our overall business climate in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Long gone. Minnesota used to be attract businesses looking to relocate because our low electricity prices. Years of mandating the wind and solar in our energy mix have vaporized that competitive advantage. And so,
Yeah, I was just going to say something about all that energy and electricity.
Yeah.
Because you have, even in Paris, I was reading, I don't even know I was reading it, but they're saying climate change and electricity problems are an issue. So they're going to shut off the Eiffel Tower 2 hours earlier than normal. Like, this is how dramatic they're making it.
Yeah.
They're just making it seem more dramatic than it is.
Well,
there's no reason for him to do that.
Yeah.
And if it's going to cost $313 billion,
right.
how's that benefiting anybody?
Right. It's been a kerfuffle the whole time, France's issue, and then something, with Walz. But it's continually these kind of leaders shooting our own economy in the foot to try to push towards some sort of ideal that is not even realistic.
No.
And is definitely harmful to our economy.
Right.
And harmful to the welfare of the people that they're supposed to be serving.
How are you going to go 100% carbon free by 2021?
All of it.
I mean, you look at the United States and its relationship with carbon production, with all of the manufacturing, all the jobs that we have. We are the best nation in the world that has an industry as being green and being the most resourceful and the most responsible with our production and our manufacturing. Yet we are continually coming against our own selves, basically through the leadership, and not even addressing the fact that some of the biggest offenders when it comes to carbon production, which I don't even want to get into the fact that the man-made carbon production is causing so-called climate change.
Right.
But we are far ahead of anyone else that is in industrialized economies, and we keep taking hits, and we keep giving hits to ourselves, while people like China and Russia and India continue to put out so much carbon production in their industries, and they don't care a single bit whether or not they're putting stuff into the air, because they are advancing their civilization. They are advancing their economy.
Well, God didn't make the earth to fall apart.
No.
And I'm just telling you, that's so in the end, they can control you. They can shut off your lights.
No doubt about it.
They can turn your lights off when they want them off, right? And this is what's going on here, okay? And on another thing, in talking about control, the Democratic LGBT group to pay for gender-confused children to rehome against their parents' wishes. This Pride Liberation Project,
that's so disturbing.
This isn't just one
so
little thing going on over here in the corner of Virginia. Like we're telling you this stuff because it's spreading, and it's spreading fast, right? The Pride Liberation Project wants to put angsty, gender-confused teenagers into the care of queer family guardians. I remember when that was a bad word.
I did, yeah.
A bad word. The far-left LGBT lobby group is making plans to help young children rehome under the care of LGBT activists if the gender-confused teens want to run away.
That's
from their
so
parents.
disturbing.
The Pride Liberation Project, based in Virginia, wants to take gender-confused teenagers into the care of these queer-friendly people, and leaked internal messages from the group show it intends to pay children to run away from their parents. And so it's just there's a lot more on that.
Right.
If you want to read that whole article, again, everything that we're bringing to you is things that you're probably not going to see. Some of it you will, but most of it you're not going to see on anywhere. All right, but
can I just say that over the course of the last year, just the gender affirming conversation has ramped up so much that you literally see it everywhere. So if I was a child and you're just, I don't know, exploring it or talking about it, and you're going to go to some stranger who's going to push you to it. I was reading an article, it was a really long article from Reuters, and it was on gender dysphoria and how this one child, since they were like 6, wanted to go through the transition, and they were kind of questioning the doctors in the facilities that were doing this, because the pill that these kids take to puberty blocker pill, it actually causes suicidal thoughts in the children.
Right.
They don't even, these aren't even tested by the U.S., what is it?
The FDA.
Yeah. They're not even FDA approved. It causes so many problems. So the fact that some of these parents are like, hey, hold on, you're 12. I'm going to let's just think about this for a while.
Right.
And then they're going to go to somebody's house who's going to push you in that direction.
Right.
And that's not, how's that not a child protective services issue?
Yeah.
How is it not?
Oh, yeah. It should be. And anybody who looks at it rationally agrees exactly. But anyone that now is
you have
controlled by this agenda or, buys into it, just, they turn a blind eye to that.
But you have this group in Virginia that's saying, let's do this. But then you had California, Newsom, who signed a bill who said they're a sanctuary city, basically, for any child who wants to do gender affirming care, and they'll pay it.
But listen, we early on with the first or second episode, we were telling you about an MSNBC reporter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
We looked at the video where they're not the parents' kids. They're not the parents' kids. They belong to the community. This is something that's going on. This isn't just in one corner. They want to take the kids out from under the parents. That is it's about looking at the long-term goal, and they're just doing it piece by piece.
Yep.
And here's something else that's going on piece by piece, intimidating Christians. There's a flurry of pro-life protests, pro-life arrests Spurs charges the Biden administration is trying to intimidate Christians, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
If you go through the 7 letters to the 7 churches, which it applies to today,
Yes, it does.
persecution is coming. The attorney for one of 11 pro-life activists arrested last week by armed FBI agents. Here we go again. This is someone different. This isn't the Philadelphia guy.
No.
All right. This is a guy in Tennessee.
Yep.
Accused the Justice Department on Tuesday of seeking to frighten and intimidate Christians with its recent campaign targeting against anti-abortion protesters. Paul Vaughn, 55, was arrested October 5th at his farmhouse in Centerville, Tennessee, and charged with violating the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, stemming from March 2021 pro-life demonstration outside an abortion facility in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And so,
Can I say one quick thing about abortion? So I was visiting my son in Missouri, and every commercial that went on during the commercial breaks was attacking against the Republican who was trying to stop abortion. They were saying like they're going to sign the abortion thing, and it all was anti-abortionist.
Right. Well,
so
that's right now.
I'm not even kidding. I counted in one day because we were watching baseball and football. 30 ads.
how many did you see the other way?
None.
Yeah, isn't it a
None
lot
the other
more?
way.
There's a lot more.
But it's about this person is so extreme. They want to stop abortions from incest and rape, and they're just,
and
your worst
obviously,
nightmare of what
the problem
someone get
is
pregnant
for anybody on the Democratic platform right now. Their only trigger to their followers is abortion right now, because they are losing in the economy. They are losing.
They have nothing else to stand on.
Whatever they're trying to legislate, nothing is going through that is there's nothing that is building up America and building up their constituency. So they're only able to scream loudest about abortion because people are split on it.
Yeah, and a Democrat state representative tweeted this week saying that she supports abortion because motherhood is hard. But now she deleted the tweet, but that was her tweet.
But listen, again, looking at the end result here, I think they want the 8% inflation. I really do.
Yeah.
I really think, and I know people don't like that, but I really think it just seems to me like they're trying to bankrupt this country.
Yeah.
They're trying to bankrupt the middle class. I mean, I just keep today. You could just call this the end result episode, right?
Oh, that's
because
great.
when you look at the end result, right?
Yeah,
that's what they want. They want and I sincerely believe they want 8% inflation at this point. At this point, I really do believe that.
Yeah.
And the federal government, they arrested this guy in Tennessee in front of his wife and 7 children of his 11 children. Isn't it funny? All these abortion guys seem to have like 11 children.
They do.
The guys protesting. Not coming against that, right?
No.
But the guy last week had a bunch of children, right?
They're
because they
Catholics.
believe in life.
Yes. The federal indictment against the
kids.
11 activists came with a Biden administration invoking the access law to ensure abortion availability in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's June 24th decision. And so San Diego School District sparks outrage by claiming that heterosexuality is a system of oppression and encourages students to call themselves Two-Spirit. Two-Spirit.
They're calling them what?
Two-Spirit.
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 Chris
Like
Rufo.
you have a guy and a woman inside of you?
In spirit,
I'm assuming?
A senior fellow of Manhattan Institute made available training documents.
Interesting.
The San Diego Unified School District gives to teachers. These documents follow the tenets of academic queer theory. Suddenly that word, this is the appropriate word to use.
Right.
Which states that the gender binary is a social construct and is harmful to society. In the training documents, administrators explain that heterosexuality is a form of oppression and encourages students to examine their gender identities. So it's...
Okay, can I just say one thing? Because
may.
I was this same article from 2017 to 2021. There have been 121,882 gender dysphoria issues with people. In the last year alone, they have 42,000 minors who are questioning their gender dysphoria. And I watched a lady who
Explain what gender dysphoria is.
So it's defined
Lonaiah.
as a feeling of distress from like you're born a male, but you feel like you're a female. So that's gender dysphoria because
Okay.
you're in the wrong body.
Okay.
And I watched this lady who is for this movement of letting children or people explore who they are. And she was basically calling us like radicalists, that we only believe like you're a girl, so you're born a girl. But then let me ask you, why are they harvesting people's eggs and sperm if it's not a problem and it's all safe? Then why, when they're taking these children in these articles that I read of the 42,000 people on routers that they interviewed or were looking at, Reuters, whatever,
Readers.
why are they harvesting those if it's okay and it's safe? What are you worried about? Why?
Right.
And did you see the professor that got fired for saying there's only 2 genders?
No, it's such
issues of science.
Controversial take.
I don't know what kind of science, molecular science or something crazy. And she's like, there are only 2 genders.
Oh,
male
I
and
saw
female.
that as well.
Maryland,
was she
I
a
think?
biological?
Yes,
a bio?
yes.
Yeah. Yep.
It gets tiring talking about this
Biology
every
teacher.
week, and it really you have to keep your spirit from getting like really, really bitter towards these people.
Yes.
Honestly, because it just the fact that it's all over every week, and it used to be what we'd hear something every week in California,
Right.
or a state
Right.
like us, Minnesota. But now Tennessee, Virginia. I'm just saying.
But they were shutting it down in Tennessee. But listen to this. In Oregon, at the age of 15, you can go to a clinic and get puberty blockers without your parents' consent.
Yeah, and so
They just give you a little pill.
the second message here.
Okay, let's go back to the word.
Okay, is that okay?
Please.
All right. Revelation 20:11. I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, and from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. There was found no place for them. And the phrase at the end of the verse, there was no place found for them. This means that a new heaven and new earth are coming. 3 times on the planet Earth, Satan has messed up God's creation.
Yeah.
3 times. When God originally created the heavens and the earth, as recorded in Genesis 1:1, let's read Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Guess what? I have news for you. When God created the heaven and the earth originally, it was not without form and void. I repeat, it was not without form and void. All right? Let's read Genesis 1:2. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So here we have it without form and void. What I'm telling you, Genesis 1:1, it wasn't created like that.
Well, weren't you just
Originally.
reading in Ezekiel 28 how the devil was walking among kings and queens?
Yes.
So this would have been...
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
So what happened between Genesis 1:1
Yep.
and Genesis 1:2? There's millions of years in there. Honestly, literally. Okay, that's a whole. It's more than a theory. It's more than a theory. It's the truth, because scientists, they hit us with, well, the Bible is only 6,000 years old, so the Earth is millions of years old.
The young Earth take on creation. I don't always. I believe there's some gray area in there because we just don't have a specific timeline of that. But if you read in between the lines, between verse 1 and verse 2, there's more than just meets the eye.
Right.
The original Hebrew, it means replenish. When he's talking to Adam and Eve and saying plentish, it's replenish. Okay, redo it. All right. In other words, it's already been done once. Okay, I'm talking about between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2. All right, there was a kingdom on earth before the Garden of Eden. Okay?
Yes.
That's a whole teaching,
Sure.
maybe even 2. Long story short, Satan ruled that kingdom.
He did.
And he ascended. Where did he ascend from? The Bible says he ascended. He ascended from earth. What was he doing on earth? Why did he come from earth? Isaiah 14, 12 through 17. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? All right, so we have Satan as the serpent deceiving Adam and Eve. This is before. There were nations before.
Yeah.
And he was ruling those nations before Genesis 1-2. All right? Okay? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. Ascend from where? The earth. I will exalt my throne above the... He's got a throne on earth. I will exalt my throne. Oh, you've got a throne? You're going to ascend and you're going to exalt your throne? I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. Oh, he's under the clouds. Is he? I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell to the sides of the pit. They that, when we finally see him in the end, shall narrowly look upon thee, narrowly, and consider you, saying, this is the man that made the earth tremble. Wow. Right?
Right.
But when he was created, he was really given a lot. And he was given, we read a little bit about what he looked like. But all this happened before the Garden of Eden. And I know I'm getting off subject here, but after God brings the world back to a habitable state, as recorded in Genesis 1-2, obviously, Satan, through trickery and deception, takes dominion of the earth that was given to Adam and Eve, filled the earth with violence, murder, everything bad you can think of, which God had to bring the cross of Jesus Christ in to address it. And then we have at the end of the millennial reign, when Satan is let out of the bottomless pit, says, for a season, takes one more shot at ruining the planet. And we just read, it was cut short with fire coming down from heaven. 3 times. Obviously, God sends it, and now he's thrown into the lake of fire completely. Finished. So we come to the great white throne judgment, Revelation 20:12. I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. The books were open. Another book was opened, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. So the phrase, I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, this is what Jesus calls the resurrection of damnation in John 5:29. These are non-Christians that will be raised from the dead, given indestructible bodies. For what? You'll see. You know, the world has been so, I guess the word you could use here is psychologized.
Yeah.
That most people don't even think there'll be any kind of coming judgment ever. Basically, psychology teaches man is not responsible for his actions,
Right.
meaning that all the bad actions of men are always caused by the outside forces, i.e. their environment. And, you know, it's always your parents made you do that, right? Looking at the phrase of the second half of this verse, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which was the book of life, the other book. The dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books, according to their works. The books, that phrase, the books, are talking about every sinful action, even down to the thought of these unbelievers that are judged on.
Oof,
And then
that's
you
a
have,
lot.
yeah, I know. You have the book of life sitting there too. The book of life has all the names of everyone that has Jesus in their heart, right? So this book of life is being brought in to lay to rest that there would be unfairness coming from God. Every individual in the world will know and understand a record is being kept of all that they did and do, and unless the person takes the wrongdoing to Christ, who cleanses him from all sin, that person is going to have to stand before the great white throne, before God, all right? Notice Revelation 20:11, I saw a great white throne, him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. And there was no place found for them. What does that mean? This means that a new heaven, new earth will be coming. So listen, see what I just did?
Yeah, I do.
You didn't even catch it. You guys,
You started
are you guys
over
daydreaming?
again. No, I wasn't. I was actually thinking about just how sad it is for those people?
Were you thinking deeply, Lonaiah?
I was thinking deeply.
It is sad.
Because they're going to go there.
That's a great altar call.
Yeah, it is a great altar
call.
To
talk about the Lamb's Book of Life. Like at the end of a sermon.
But think you're like, look my name up, and they're like, it's not in here. And I like, are you sure?
Oh,
and it's not
again?
But I just feel bad for the people who, and I want to say this carefully, but I think a lot of Christians can misrepresent Christ to people, and it turns people off to Jesus because they look at somebody and think, oh, if that's how Christians are, I don't want that. So, like, I feel bad for those people, not for the people who knew and understood God and rejected him anyway, but for the people who didn't really find it for themselves.
Right.
They're just like, I'm done with that because...
But I'm just tired of the whole thing on judgmental Christians, honestly.
What do you mean?
I'm just tired of it. Like, I know Jesus said, judge and you'll be judged. And I know that a lot of the problems in the Christian world, most of the people that come at me are Christians, right?
Right.
And I don't think that they've ever read that scripture where Jesus
but don't
says,
you think that's
judge and you'll be judged, right? And so, but I'm just saying, like, look, the Hindus are burning missionaries in northern India. Okay, that happens. A lot of people don't realize pretty regularly. When we were in Singapore, there was a family that was burned. The Hindus burned to the ground. Wife, kids, preacher, all of it in northern India. I'm just saying, but we're the judgmental ones. I mean, we're not burning people in their houses, right? But we're the judgmental ones, and a lot of this is we're judgmental, and even what we're saying right now, right?
Right.
Because we're not agreeing. They're saying that.
Oh yes, people.
So they're working that all in there,
right?
Right. And I'm to the point where I really don't care at this point. You know what I mean? Persecution is coming anyways, right? Basically, if you read the 7 letters to the 7 churches, which we're going to get into a brief version of each one. I'll just tell you that it says not to compromise.
Right.
Okay. It says twice to 2 of those churches, and those are it's talking to the churches in the last days. You're going to have the chance to compromise.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to and I'm not talking about attacking another Christian for every sin they've ever committed. That's not what I'm talking about. When they're trying to turn these things into laws, right? Into law. Psalm 94. What does it say? It's got such a great verse. It's talking about nations and governments, and that's a great prayer to pray. But it says, in the multitude of our thoughts within us, your comforts delight our souls. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a bunch of laws, i.e. 87,000 weaponized IRS agents, right? i.e., these protesters, right? Trumped up charges, like they're blocking, like this guy with 11 children's blocking the entrance of an abortion clinic.
Some of the people,
right? That's framing mischief by a law.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, or making it a law that a child can run away from their parents and be taken care of if their parents don't let them get a sex change. That's the definition in Psalm 94 of framing mischief by a law. It's talking about governments. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
All right. Anyways, settle down, Jim.
That was good.
The Iran state TV, I really don't care if they call us judgmental anymore, honestly.
No,
I don't.
that's not what my point was.
I know, but it made me think of that, right?
Yeah, of course, everybody thinks, everyone is, if you look at people, you get judged when you walk. Have you ever looked at anyone look at you when you walk in at Target? You get judged.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was judged.
Misrepresented.
I was judged in my sunglasses at the state fair. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Well, and if you analyze that particular passage where Jesus is talking about judging, he's going like, hey, don't be a hypocrite and have a log in your eye and then complain about someone else's speck in theirs. Take care of yourself. You have to be able to judge what's going on around you. You have to be able to go, this is true and this is not. And if you don't, you're gonna run into quite a few traps. But you have to be able to.
No, and I agree with you
to do that.
And I see why God has the book there.
Yeah.
Because probably he wants to be like, yeah, you can come, but he has to be fair, right? So he has to have the book there and be like, your name isn't in here. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yes.
Because if it's me, I'm mercy motivated. I'm like, it's okay. It's all right.
Which is
I love you anyways. Even though you threw a shoe at my head.
They'd be able to talk you into it.
Yeah, they would.
Listen, we need to watch this Iran thing.
Yes, very interesting.
Iran state TV was hacked into with the image of the Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader is what they call him, in crosshairs. So hackers, the protesters, hacked in Iran's way into their TV news broadcast with an image of a gun sight, crosshairs, and flames over the face of Ayatollah Khomeini in the footage widely shared online Sunday. And other anti-regime.
That is crazy. They
I know.
just hacked it.
You know what? Sorry, but I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. I hope that people of Iran do stand up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And the Persian people, we view Iran a certain way, but it is the people that are in charge.
Right.
I love the Persian people. They're an incredible people. They're an ancient people.
Yeah.
At one point, they basically ruled the world. They're very, very intelligent people. And I hope that they don't crush this thing. I hope it spreads. They're spray painting death to Khomeini, and the police are murderers of the people on public billboards. The blood of our youths are on your hands. As on an on-screen message that flashed on during a TV broadcast. Isn't that?
Can
great?
you imagine being the guys that did that?
They're so smart, though.
They're so
They
great.
are this type. This is just like them to do this, right?
I think it's great.
Have you ever seen or been at your house, especially probably when you were teenagers or in the 90s, and there was two remotes for the same TV,
Yes,
and
yeah.
someone from the outside of the room is
Clicking it, and you're like, what the heck?
Like, what's going on? I can just imagine the hackers, putting up a message, then taking it down, and they're like, what the heck happened? And then
Think what a victory the moment that was for them. I
Well,
love it.
These protests were sparked by the death of Masa Amini, 22. And they're fed up with it. Police forces are using tear gas to disperse the crowds in dozens of locations in Tehran, Iran.
But just her death was just so uncalled for.
Right.
Yeah, the death
They
of
beat
her.
her.
She
They
didn't have
beat
her hijab on.
Yes.
Beat her to death.
They beat her to death. Her parents couldn't even recognize her.
They're morality police.
Yes.
Morality
Think
police.
about that whenever anyone starts touting one in America, what morality police really is.
Well, we try to have some with the masks.
it's like
but-
what the Gestapo was in World War II.
Yeah, and she was Kurdish. That was on September 16th, which I did not know that she was a Kurd.
Yeah.
And so it posted pictures of Amini and 3 other women killed in the crackdown that has claimed 95 lives of the protesters.
It's horrible.
This is according to Norway-based group Iran Human Rights. Okay, another 90 people were killed in Iran's far southeast on September 30th, sparked by an alleged rape of a teenage girl by a police chief. On the other side of it, 14 of the bad guys, in my opinion, the Revolutionary Guards, the Iran's guards,
Definitely.
Basij paramilitary force, 14 of them have been killed by the mob supporting revolution. And, you've got protesters, including university students, young schoolgirls. The chant is woman, life, freedom, and many times. So many protests in every corner of the city. In Amini's hometown, Kurdistan, schoolgirls chanted, marched down a street swinging their hijab headscarves in the air. And you've got gruesome footage online, bloody response spread online, widespread internet outages, blocks on all their social media.
Yes.
But stuff's getting out.
Right.
And a man was shot dead at the wheel of his car, killed by anti-revolutionary forces. Angry men then appeared to take revenge on the militia, the feared BASIJ militia, Basij militia. There's filmage of them swarming him, these dudes beating him up badly. on Twitter, October 3, 2022, shows Iranian students during a protest in southern Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas. You have a video clip of a young woman was shot dead in the country's northeast. It's just chaos there. And basically, they're fed up. They're saying they're not afraid anymore in the face of violence and online restrictions. Protesters are adopting new tactics. They said, we're going to fight. And listen, I'm just saying this now. I'm saying this. What we need, what do you pray for instead of just cheering it on? I believe we pray for supernatural intervention for those protesters for freedom. Yeah. In the name of Jesus Christ, that spirit that spirit that is holding those people it's a religious dictatorship is what it is.
Oh yeah, okay? For sure.
And you can pray against that spirit. You can actually bring that spirit down in the name of Jesus Christ. And you need to pray for, like Jesus says, laborers, right? Laborers, okay? In other words, I believe there's going to be a chance, a window in Iran to have a harvest, right? Mm-hmm. Therefore, laborers. I know a man that sneaks into Iran, right, and hands out Bible schools in briefcases, right? It's all underground work, and he's been doing it for years. And I'm just saying, you need to pray for laborers for that country. You need to pray for leaders for that, in my opinion, for that revolution. Mm-hmm. Ask God for leaders. Pray for wisdom for the protesters in that situation. So we're not just cheering it on. We're praying that they make traction, that this thing doesn't just get put down. It would just be great. Although they are Iran, we do have them in the Ezekiel 38 war. So it makes me wonder, and some people believe the Ezekiel 38 war is going to happen after the rapture.
Yeah.
Okay. So, nobody's quite sure.
Right.
And so, but at some point, Iran has to open up for that final harvest, end time harvest. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you still have to sneak in there.
Right.
And so now, you guys.
Well, and I mean that's been the areas of rapid evangelism in the world over history is when the word and when Christians are crushed. Yes. And there's martyrs that is a spark for revival. Yes. That is a spark for people coming into the kingdom.
Yes, and so you can pray for Iran. You can pray for that. You can even further what's going on there. You can pray for protection for the revolutionaries. Okay? And so you have, back to the third little teaching here, and the last one, you have the wicked on the great white throne judgment is what it's called. And you have the wicked being judged according to their works. And the reason that they have the book of life at the great white throne judgment is to silence any claims to say, hey, I'm in the book. No, you're not in the book. The only people that will be in the book of life are the people that have accepted Jesus Christ into their hearts. Those people, as I've said, will not be involved. They will not stand before the great white throne. Okay? It's pretty detailed here. Revelation.
Which, as a kid, there was all sorts of doctrines out there. That was a fearful event as a kid, thinking about the end times and going, I better be good. I better be good because I don't want to be judged too harshly. I don't want all of my sins to be shown in front of everybody.
Oh my gosh, I used to say sorry for fighting and I forgive, pray every night before I went to bed, so I wouldn't have anything to be judged for if the rapture happened while I was sleeping.
Well, that's
every night for forever.
That's what sent me to the other direction.
Yeah.
Because I think at 14, I made a deal with my best friend, like, we're not going to make the rapture because we're so tired of the Maranatha chapels telling us we're not going in the rapture and you're going to hell and you have sin in your life and you're going to be judged. And you're going to be judged. And I'm just like, I'm going to be judged anyways. Yeah. I'm going to be judged anyways. I'm not going to make the rapture. So we're sitting in his house was a lot less strict than mine. And I remember making the deal in his bedroom. Let's just be as bad as we can. We need to have as much fun as we can. Let's do everything we can. Let's live it up now. We don't have long. We're not going to make the rapture anyways. And therefore, I started into 15 years of debauchery. Maybe probably more.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I went the other way and just confessed my sins all day.
So
sorry, God. So sorry.
I just got
pulled
tired
my
of it.
sister's hair.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
you could do a whole
Right.
podcast on sin confession, and I would just not say that word 1 John 1:9. Okay, Kenneth Hagin used to say, and you can write in and argue. Maybe I just don't even respond. Kenneth Hagin Sr., my parents' spiritual father, he's in heaven now, used to say, if you want to make a doctrine out of something, find it 3 times in the Bible, then come talk to me. So otherwise, if you can't find it 3 times in the New Testament, you could say anything.
Sure.
You can say anything you want, right?
Yeah.
Cut off your hand then. Go
Right.
cut off your hand.
Right.
Oh, you looking at that woman? Poke your eye out.
Poke your eye out, yep.
Poke your eye out. And so what I'm saying is 1 John 1:9, right? You're only going to find that 1 time. And I'm not saying don't confess your sins.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is what that word means is agree with God. When I confess my sins, I go to the throne of grace,
Right.
just like it says in Hebrews, and I obtain mercy for my failures,
Yep.
right? And I find grace. What does
Yes.
grace mean? It actually says this.
Yeah.
For your failures, find grace.
Yes.
That's blessing you don't deserve.
Yeah.
Favor you don't deserve. And people, this confession of sins thing, yes, because if you don't think you sin, pride will come in.
Yeah.
And what you have to understand is fear is a sin, worry is a sin, doubt's a sin. It says in Romans, anything you don't do out of faith is a sin. Eating bad things for your body can be a sin because you're defiling the temple of God. Speeding, you're not obeying the laws of the land. Going 37 and a 35 is a sin. You should be confessing your sin all the time, all day, every day. And this is how we were taught.
Right course.
And you guys coming a little after me, but I think you're kind of from the same generation in a way. You were on the tail end of what I got.
Yep.
And the way that you were brought up, where everything was a sin, and you just get bombarded, and you're always condemned, right? Thinking, no one was preaching, but Jesus died for those sins,
Right? Yeah.
No one was preaching that.
I think I went up to the altar call every time they did one in Super Church. I was like,
as a
raise my
high
hand.
schooler, every time
were
there
all
was
there.
I'm not saved, I guess, according to this.
We were all
I
at every
lost my
altar call.
salvation.
Yeah.
and
If you sat in the back,
If you
At chapel, if you sat in the back, you were a rebel with your arms crossed.
Somebody
I
has
was
to
a
sit in the
rebel.
back, though. There's not, you can't have
I will
that.
sit in the back by
And
the
you-
closest exit
Lonaiah still
every
does.
time. I still do.
And you did.
John was in the front.
You were in a Christian school in
Yeah,
Rapid
I was in a
City.
Christian school.
So we're all out of these little Christian schools, right? And so, yes, if you sat in the back, you were marked. And they listen. I could remember summer camps where I'm in the back, and by the end of camp, because me and my friend were the only ones that had not gone forward, and rededicated our
Would they
lives.
come back and lay their hands on
They're
you?
practically.
You know how they walk.
The whole last night was to get us to come forward. And by the
trying to
time
get
I'm
Jim
15, I'm just like, I'm sick of going forward.
Right.
We all just go back to what we were doing after the altar call.
Absolutely.
After camp, right? And so I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up
We
here.
worked
No,
it.
well,
It's all right.
But
it's really pertinent. I think
It's
there's a lot
real.
of people that deal with that. You know, it was like I came into my 20s going, I would declare that God will forgive your sins to anyone. But when it came to anything that I did, and you're a person, your shortcomings, that was where I got caught up because I was like,
You're not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Right. And that was what I came in. I knew God's goodness. I knew about it, but it was definitely, a harder thing to accept for myself.
Right.
And it says in Romans 8, if you're under condemnation,
Right.
there's no condemnation in Jesus.
Right.
If you're under condemnation, you're thinking the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Those are not godly thoughts.
First
okay?
John 4.
Yeah.
If you are expecting condemnation, then you don't actually know true love.
Yeah, and you know what it says in that verse, Romans 8, where it says there's no condemnation in Jesus, but to those that walk, not to those that walk after the flesh, but after the Spirit. I always thought, oh, that's too bad because I'm so fleshy, right? No, that wasn't even supposed to be in there. That phrase is not, the translators added that in there. It just simply says in Romans 8:1, there's no condemnation in Jesus. That's all that was supposed to be said.
Yes.
So if there's condemnation in Jesus in your life, if there's condemnation in your life, that is a serious teller that you're operating under the old covenant.
Right.
Under the old covenant. You really don't understand how forgiven you really are.
Yes.
Okay, through the cross and the resurrection.
Yeah.
And so, but we're this judgment seat. Yeah, because it was a bunch of misteaching.
Right.
And we all thought we were going to be judged like this.
Yep.
All right. And so Revelation 20:13, the sea gave up the dead which were in it. The death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. And the Bible is really making sure that everybody that did not accept Jesus Christ will be in this judgment and stand in front of the great white throne, even those in the bottom of the sea. He's going to raise them out of hell. All will be judged as individuals. Now the Christians have a whole different deal. It's called the judgment seat of Christ.
Yeah.
What we go through
That
is
mercy
totally
seat.
different.
Yeah.
It's a totally different time.
Yep.
It's not at that time. It's much earlier. This is a judgment of works only. For our judgment, the judgment seat of Christ, for the purpose of receiving awards.
Yeah.
Okay? Because he died for our sins. Our sins are cleared. But that's a whole other sermon, the judgment seat of Christ for Christians, all right? Where we are only being rewarded. Unbelievers go before the great white throne. And we have the word Hades used 11 times in the New Testament that was just used, is the opinion of a theologian by the name of Daniel Hawking that Hades is like hell. It's a place of torment, but it's a temporary place of the wicked dead who are waiting the great white throne judgment and their final sentencing. The Greek word that refers to the final hell is Gehenna. That refers to the actual lake of fire. But check this out, Revelation 20:14. Death and Hades, hell, were cast into the lake of fire. All right, this is the second
We're
death.
moving to a new location.
Yeah. So this verse is interesting. This is why everybody gets new bodies here.
Yeah.
In the resurrection of damnation, the unbelievers that are raised from the dead in the resurrection of damnation and then judged at the great white throne judgment, they will not want those bodies that they are resurrected with, because these bodies cannot be destroyed in the lake of fire. So it will be eternal suffering. And this is why scholars think that Hades is kind of an intermediate type of place for the lost, the non-Christians. It's a place of torment. But now, we just read, you have Hades itself being thrown into the final destination, the lake of fire.
Do you think that's kind of related to the Catholic, like the certain
the levels,
the levels of purgatory?
Yes. And what's that famous artist who was a Christian that wrote that? He's got all those levels of people being tormented.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating painting.
Very.
I can
very
look
wild.
at that painting. Who was that guy again? Dante.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno. Yeah.
I know it's kind of morbid, but I can look at that painting for a long time, right, and wonder if it's quite prophetic. Dante's Inferno. Look, Lonaiah's going to have bad dreams because of today. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Lonaiah's
I won't look at the painting.
No, don't.
I won't.
Don't. And so,
I have a sensitive spirit.
yes, you have a very
Yes, I do.
sensitive spirit.
Spirit.
Revelation, Lonaiah can watch little kids trick-or-treating on TV and have a bad dream.
I can.
Okay. Revelation 20:15, whoever was not found written in the book of life is cast in the lake of fire. It says it right there. Okay, so let me get this straight. When the final sentence is given, a person's eternal destiny is not determined by their deeds or by works. It is written It's what if you are written in the book of life? Are you on that list, baby?
Yeah.
Okay? The names of those who do not accept Jesus before they die will be blotted out of that book, which says everyone's names start in the book.
Aw. That's
But-
even sadder.
But if you don't accept Jesus at some point, when you
The
probably...
the white Sharpie goes across it.
I don't know. That's wild.
Heavenly whiteout?
I mean, that's
Yeah, that's the white throne judgment.
Well, notice there's Muslims that before they die, Jesus appears
yeah.
Yes.
and says, hey, I'm really
It's
here.
him. It's me.
This has happened, right? And people have come back to life. Jesus appeared to me. It's a...
So they all do get a chance.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of people up there that you do not think should be up there.
Yeah.
Trust me. There's a whole story about Sam Kinison. Some of the older people remember Sam Kinison used to mock God. That he was a famous comedian, and he made it by mocking God, by making fun of God. He was very mad at God. Died in a car accident outside the Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He's laying out on the street on one of those lonely desert highways, and his wife actually witnessed the fact that he has a conversation with an angel. And he doesn't know anyone's there right before he died.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I'm sorry. It's a whole thing going on. And this guy was just evil. He hated Christians.
But see, that shows you God's mercy right there.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
think how hard the great white throne judgment's going to be for him.
For Sam?
No, for
No,
God.
Sam's in heaven.
For God.
For God.
Oh, okay.
Sam's in heaven.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay. Listen.
Sam's in heaven, guys.
and that's the beautiful thing of God is he made it free for anyone.
Right. Your name started in the
doesn't
book,
matter
people.
anyone.
Just got blotted
Anyone
out.
who wants it.
The thief next to him on the cross
Yeah.
just said, remember me.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesus looked at him and said, I'm going to see you.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than remembrance. I'm going to see you today.
Yeah.
And so when the final sentence is given in a person's eternal destiny, it's not determined by their deeds. The names of those who do not accept Jesus before they die will be blotted out of the book of life. Their names will not be found, as we just read. They will join Satan and the Antichrist and the false prophet in the lake of fire forever. When God opens the book of life at the great white throne judgment, the only names left in that book will be the names of the people that believe in Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. That's why you have the name of the book being changed from the book of life to the Lamb's book of life. And that's not my opinion. That's Hal Lindsey's opinion. Some of you don't know who he is. We don't have enough time to go to. You don't know who Hal Lindsey is?
I've heard the name.
Famous.
Didn't he do the Bible codes book?
No. Famous end times guy
thank you, though.
from the 80s. He's one of the reasons we were all scared. Okay, but he's a
Thanks, Hal.
He's basically a scholar.
Did he help
Though,
write Thief in the Night?
I don't know.
I
Jeez,
doubt
that
it. I doubt
movie?
it. Oh, that.
It's
that
a
was-
movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the people
And there
getting their
was a-
heads cut off
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, we
For
saw
an
that.
8-year-old,
Apocalypse
10-year-old.
Code, that's what he wrote. My dad had
Yeah.
that. I read that. Whew, that scared me so bad as a kid.
Listen, the last part of the news here, Elon Musk warning is coming true. AI surpasses its human masters with new creation.
We have said story after story about that.
Yeah.
Look, this stuff's coming.
It is.
Artificial intelligence has made another leap after AI discovered new ways to multiply numbers. Many are concerned about the growing abilities of AI, like Elon Musk, who has continually spoken about AI becoming a possible threat to humanity.
Wait, one thing. They fired the AI Google engineer who first came
Yeah.
out with this
Yeah.
saying AI is more intelligent
Like
than
6
humans.
months ago.
Yeah, like 6 months ago. Now it's normal.
The AI engineered
Not
by
normal, but-
DeepMind, a British child company of Alphabet Inc., discovered faster
Which is
matrix.
the Google people.
Yes, discovered faster matrix multiplication algorithms. This is big. Okay, the first such an advancement in over 50 years. Listen to this now. At a 2017 meeting, what's this getting at? At 2017 meeting of National Governors Association, Musk once again warned about AI development. He says, I have exposure to the most cutting edge AI, and I think people should really be concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell until people see robots going down the street killing people.
Except dude just created 2 robots himself, so he's
well,
part
just
of the problem.
we're getting to that.
But he's
They-
disconnected from the.
They don't know how to react because it seems so ethereal. But he's predicting People are going to see robots walking down the street killing people. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive. Because I think by the time we are reactive in AI regulation, it's going to be too late.
So to talk about that a little bit more, in the first page that you were reading there, it was saying that AI has found a new way to multiply. So in up till now, the human brain has been much quicker and much better at running problems than computers. And that's because a computer can only do so many calculations per second. And the human mind, the brain, the mind, and all the input that a human can use is just so much computing power. But if AI has a new level of multiplication, it is catching up with the speed that it takes to think as well as a human can. And that's the theory, and that's the worry, is that AI will now be able to do many of the things that a human can as far as creative thinking.
And his warnings are, this is not some hippie. This is someone who's actually creating AI for his cars.
Yep.
This guy's sending rockets into space. He's aiming to colonize Mars. He's not an AI novice. And some have criticized Musk's warnings as just a facade to make him look socially responsible while he's advancing AI himself. And no one really knows that. But listen, this guy, and I just said this and I didn't even know this, is in last week's service, I said it's going to be like the Terminator. The Terminator movies were prophetic. Elon Musk has even likened it to the famous Terminator movies. That's not typically how do you want to sell a product. So we have to assume that Musk is at least a bit sincere in his warnings.
Yeah.
In the movie Terminator, they didn't create AI. They didn't expect, some sort of Terminator-like outcome.
No.
But Musk says you have to be careful with this stuff. And it's going to get crazy.
Again,
it's going to get crazy.
We look at the Antichrist having an image speaking for him.
Yes.
I mean, we're getting to the stuff that we've
and
been
you talk
talking
about the army that kill people. Then he's like, a robot will walk down the street and kill people.
There's stuff we talked about already that really
million.
It's all setting up to have that same scenario just play out.
I said we talked about in Revelation. There's a judgment that is cut loose, where there's an army of 200 million, and scholars are split between. Is that really is that demons? It kills 1/4 the earth,
right?
Or is it the Chinese? Which that would be really hard. Okay, to outfit that kind of army.
Right. That'd be a fifth of the current population of Asia.
Right?
You think they really give us all their numbers?
But look.
Well, there's supposedly a billion people in Asia.
I wonder if it's AI. If the army is like an AI type robot type army.
Right.
But we'll see. We're not going to be here. We're going to be watching from up there. But in the meantime, Gates Foundation commits $200 million to digital ID. All right, so it's
Billy
coming.
G is back.
The chip is coming.
My brother.
The chip is coming.
It's just a dude.
And one we've got to talk about two more things here. Quick hitters. North Korea really wants attention.
Sorry, the Kim Jong-un guy is just.
He's a doofus.
He just makes me laugh.
Yeah. He's in a Top Gun jacket.
You guys,
on his balcony. Go ahead.
No. This one is you explain this one.
Well, one of them, there's a shot of him on his balcony in a Top Gun leather jacket as the missiles being launched in the background.
Look at that, guys.
But
remember when I don't know if you guys saw this, but a couple months ago he was showing everybody a new airplane that they had created, and he came out in Top Gun gear with the shades and the jacket.
No one else could wear sunglasses.
And he banned leather jackets and sunglasses from anybody else in North Korea.
They're not allowed to wear leather jackets.
And I think he's best friends with Dennis Rodman, this guy.
Dennis Rodman has been there multiple times.
Yeah, they're besties. It's just, he's a character. He's a
dangerous character.
He is, but he's funny.
Last week we just read he shot a missile over Japan.
Yeah, he
did.
did.
Looked like it was at
now.
Japan.
Yeah.
And so he says he's releasing images of overseeing this missile launch. It says it's a recent barrage of missile launches were tests of its tactical nuclear weapons to hit and wipe out potential South Korean.
But why
and
make it a
US
social media
targets?
Why
South
expose
Korean
yourself
doesn't
like
make
that on
sense.
social media?
Yeah, he's going off.
It's like 5 still images of him, like in different poses on the balcony, overseeing these missile launches.
He's
just
dangerous, man. And
bizarre.
you know that you had President Biden prophesying about Armageddon in regards to if Russia were to do a tactical nuclear strike on Ukraine to stop their advancing army right now. And I think I just wonder if those are prophetic words, how he used the word Armageddon. And one more thing, Florida has now said they're recommending men 18 to 39 do not get the booster shot. Do not get the booster shot because it has been proven that it's harmful to your health.
Yeah.
Isn't it wild that it's about men?
It is.
Generally?
I know. It is. It causes.
But isn't that the
heart at the end,
that
men's hearts will fail.
Men's hearts will fail.
And if you look at, I don't know, some people who've been passing away just in social media that you see, their hearts are double the size of what they normally are.
Yeah.
And no one's saying what it's from or what it is.
And you get in trouble if you say what it's from.
But they were saying that obviously they didn't do all the
testing
that they're supposed to. They just threw it. Well, remember in the beginning, we were talking about this morning. Biden said if you get the shot or you get the booster, you won't get COVID.
You won't get COVID.
Can't.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
Except now.
Now we're talking to people that have had the shot and they've had COVID 3 times.
People in Asia, they're on a vaccine and booster program. Like it is, hey, this is your day. You have to come into the clinic. You have to get boosted. It's not even an option. It's
Thank
mandatory.
God we're still free.
Yes.
Thank God we're still free.
Free-ish.
Free-ish. Yes, technically free. I still have my guns. Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Okay. With that, we're going to thank you so much for tuning in to the Final Hour podcast. Thank you so much. Remember, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And we have a solid base of people that view us or listen to us every week. About, I believe it is 760 on Spotify and Apple together, and 600 to 700 a week. Initially, that first week on YouTube.
Those are rookie numbers. Let's pump it up.
And we thank you so much. And please do subscribe if you have not subscribed. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning into the Final Hour podcast. We will see you next week.